Open in prayer. Friday, would you lead us, please? Everybody can silence their phones.
We'll begin. We practice the Christian way, in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Practice the traditional ways. How? Get your money too. Let us pray today for another day of life. Another day of pray for Thanksgiving for our health. Let's pray for the sick in our community. There's a lot of sick people that we've been praying for in our community. So let's pray for them. But mostly let's pray for wisdom, knowledge, understanding when it comes to these types of gatherings. The best will come out of them. The best for our school, our students, teachers, community. Please let us pray. Our Father,
Lord in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Pledge allegiance and allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Blake.
Come on.
We have some not attended the meeting. There's Sydney Booth, Ashley Rock, and Julia Davis. Welcome. Okay, item 3. Floor is open for a motion for adoption of the agenda. Motion made by Dr. Friesen, is your second.
I'll second.
Second by Francis Davis. Is there any discussion? Not roll call, ready, Connie?
Okay, Terry,
Yeah.
Dave,
Yes.
Alan S.,
Yeah.
Dr. Wanda,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Francis,
Yes.
Alan.
Yes. Item 4 is approval of the minutes for April 9th, 24. Everybody had a chance to read the minutes. If the floor is open for a motion like this time.
I'll move.
Motion made by Anna. Is there a second to that motion?
Second with one correction.
Second by Alderman Swingle. Is there any discussion? Alan?
Approval minutes 305. Terry made the motion and Terry was the second.
What page?
Always the overachiever, huh?
305. The minutes of 305.
What page is that? What did you say?
I don't know what page. Your page numbers? Must be on the
The
first
first
page.
page, yeah.
Yeah, must be on the first page.
Under general business. B, general business.
Anything else, Alan?
No.
Anybody else have any discussion on the minutes? If not, roll call, you ready, Connie?
Okay, Dr. Wanda,
Yes.
Alan S.,
Yeah.
Dave,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Francis,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Alan.
Yes.
And just for the record, that's 115 minutes he's talking about. Because there must have been 2 meetings that day.
Okay.
Okay, item 5 is approval of the accounts payable. This time, floor is open for a motion for approval.
I have to declare conflict.
Okay, Lake declares a conflict. Do you wish to vote in?
No.
Okay. Floor is open for a motion.
I'll move.
Motion made by Dr. Friesen. Is there a second to that motion? Second by Terry. Is there any discussion, Terry?
No.
Diversion? Francis? Anna?
No.
Ellen?
Oh, yeah. First one I got is MYNA therapy services and preschool sped. Where did they come from?
Those are speech services.
Speech services?
Yep. we didn't have enough speech pathologists to service the students, so we contracted that out.
All right. Then, you got Turtle Mountain Community for 29,114. I was wondering what Turtle Mountain Community was.
College, not college.
College?
Yeah.
For, dual credits?
Which will be math.
The tuition. People that are taking, math that's growing.
Grow your own?
Yeah.
Grow your own?
Oh, okay. Then, let's see, Vestas Group Incorporated, is that, another credit card?
Airmark, that's our linens. They switched their name.
Oh, okay. And I noticed no other stuff, no Ladots. They didn't, put in for payments?
Just the news, just because, now right now, we have our Simone's coming in, so she is, making the different payments as she gets more familiar with the job.
Oh, okay. That's all I had, sir.
Any other discussion on accounts payable? Not, roll call, you ready, Connie?
Okay.
Hmm?
Okay, Anna,
Yes.
Dr. Wanda,
Yes.
Ellen S.,
Yeah.
Terry,
Yes.
Francis,
Yes.
Alan.
Yes. Okay, item C, old business, there's two items. Item one is approval of the second and final reading, ABCD records retention policy. Mr. Butler?
Okay, well, we have the policy and recommendation for the second and final reading. This was presented at the April meeting. The policy is in regards to the records held by the district. And what this policy does is it provides us with timelines and dates as to how long they should be kept, durations, and what to do with them. And with it, we also have the records retention schedule. There have been no changes since the April meeting. The recommendation is to approve as presented.
Yeah, this final reading.
Final reading.
I'll make a motion to approve the final read.
Motion made by Terry for approval. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Second by Anna. Is there any discussion? Not, roll call, you ready, Connie?
Okay, Francis,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Ellen S.,
Yeah.
Dr. Wanda,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Alan.
Yes. Item two is approve the second and final reading of FFAR student conduct standards and discipline procedures. Mr. Laura, I really like you to take this all day.
This is a request to amend Board Policy Code FFAR Section F, Student Conduct Standards and Disciplinary Procedures. The amendment is to include an eighth option under moderate offenses, attend restorative practices programming. Once programming is complete, any out-of-school suspensions on the student's record shall be considered settled and remedied for choice-ready determination purposes. Motion is to approve the amendment to include the eighth option.
At this time, floor is open for a motion. Is this the first reading or
The second one.
need a second?
I'll move to approve.
Okay, motion made by Alderman Schlendorf. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Second by Blake Iyer. Is there any discussion?
There was no changes from the last time we
No
read.
changes from the last time, they're just the first reading.
Any other discussion? Connie?
So the motion reads second and final reading, just for clarification, it's the final read.
Mhm.
Roll call, you ready, Connie?
Okay, Alan S.,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Dr. Wanda,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Francis,
Yes.
Alan.
Yes. Item D, new business, additional compensation for the 21-week period of the 23-24 school year, December 18th through May 17th for teachers and support staff as a one-time payment related to retention and additional duties related to mitigating COVID-19. Dr. Martin.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen of the board, as discussed earlier, when we did the first retention bonus, we would bring back a second retention bonus for all staff, including advisors, coaches. The breakdown was done by the business office. Mr. Demery and Mr. Puttra. Harold, do you have anything to add to that?
I did, bring along a report of the extra funds just because I was asked to, go along with this bonus. This is gonna be our last one, our last bonus that will be given to the employees. Additional. But we're coming to the end of our extra funds and, trying to make sure that we get it all, paid out and not have anything left to send back. Two major areas that are in this report, that bigger areas is our, the, additional payment to staff, the, transfer that we'll do at the end of the year. And then the other, big areas is the after-school program consultants, another big area. And then we have our activity bus. Those are the major areas in this remaining in this ESSER budget.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Like I said, motion made by Terry, is there a second to this motion?
I'll second.
Second by Dr. Friesen, is there any discussion? Alan, do you have anything?
That activity bus you just mentioned, is that the one that's advertised right now?
No,
Didn't I see one advertised?
the activity, there's 2 activity buses and those were approved at a prior meeting. Should be in June, paid then.
Last month.
So this is another additional?
No, those are the ones he's talking about.
Oh,
They
okay.
remain unpaid.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Anna, you have any?
Yeah, but how do you calculate like a call-in sub? By how many hours they put in or the fact that they're on the list for call-in?
Collins, we just put money estimating on how much we're gonna need for that position. It depends, like, we just do an estimation and then if we need to adjust it throughout the year, we just do it.
No, I mean for this bonus.
Oh, it's gonna be a prorated amount, just based on how much time they.
So it's
we
based
deliver.
off of hours they have put in?
Ours, they're going to put in by that
And then
March 17th, yeah. We took like how many hours they've worked so far, and then we kind of calculated up how many hours they could work.
Anything else, Anna? Blake, do you have anything?
No.
Francis? Terry?
You know I have a question on this, but I'll wait until later.
What's your question?
It's on this, not on the, not on the vote.
You don't have nothing. Approving that, will you?
No, I don't.
Okay, this one time is $7,056. Not everybody's gonna get that. If they were gone 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that's deducted. It must be so much a day. Was it $30 a day, $40 a day?
We just went, if somebody did have to take like leave without pay, then we just deducted, based on the days, and we just took off the amount of days that they were missing, so that's how we deducted it.
The only reason I'm bringing that up for clarification, the last one that was brought out, they said, well, I didn't get the full amount that was approved. And that's when I contacted.
Yeah, there is, besides like for our full-time employees, there's just a handful that had leave without pay this year. And those ones will not get the full amount.
So, I mean, I just want the rest of the board to hear this because when they get called, well, how come I only got 3,000?
Yeah.
Some got 6 or 7.
But it's my understanding, it's only the ones that have leave without pay, correct? The
Yes.
days with leave without pay,
Yes,
not the days that they took their own personal leave.
no,
Okay.
Okay, that's all I have. So, Connie, you ready, Connie?
Francis,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
LNS,
Yes.
Dr. Wanda,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Alan.
Yes, item 2, board member additional compensation. Please. Martin?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen of the board, following suit to our last
additional payment for staff and advisors and coaches. I requested that we do one for the board for all of your hard work, and follow suit for this spring payment as well. Recommendations to include.
Okay, that goes from my list for the $1,500. I move. Motion made by Francis, the second. Gary?
Yep.
Do any discussion? Freeman?
No.
Gary? No. Francis? Blake?
No.
Anna? Donald?
What's that, questions? No, I don't have any questions.
Roll call, Connie?
Okay, Dr. Wanda,
Yes.
LNS,
No,
Blake,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Francis,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
and Ellen.
Yes. Moving on to reports, city council. City council.
There we go.
Okay, we'd like to introduce ourselves further. So I'm Sydney Booth, an 11th grader at our high school.
And I'm Ashley LaRock, and I'm a 10th grader at high school.
And this month has been pretty uneventful, so we only have 2 topics to really talk about. But if you guys have any further questions, don't stop. So she'll get started off with the first one.
So last week on Monday, on the 6th, we handed out cinnamon rolls to the teachers for Teacher Appreciation Week, and we got there at 7 a.m. and gave them a little breakfast before they get started their school day.
where the heck was I that morning?
Oh, we had extra.
And
And then
our president sent us some posters that everyone's been working on. I'm not sure if we're able to show them. Can we show them?
Bring up a sample that can.
Okay, so this is one of the posters we've been working on, one of the 4, and we want to have these displayed. Yeah. So we want to have these laminated and hung before the end of this school year so that they can be seen next school year. And it'll just, our president said it's for encouragement and what it means to be a brave in different perspectives. So we have one for teachers, students, administrators, and then here's the teacher one. And then here's our administrator one too. Okay, and then there's just one that spells out brave. That one. So, yeah, that's all we have for you.
it's been pretty quiet.
So if anyone has any questions about stuff we just talked about.
Are you guys on for next year as well? Because do you guys do elections at the end of the school year, or you wait till the next year?
They have elections every year.
At the beginning of the year?
I believe it's at the beginning of the year.
September.
Yeah,
And what do you guys do? Yeah.
yeah. Hopefully I'll be an officer next year.
Yeah,
I'm
most of
just,
us are
We're
officers.
just representative.
Okay.
How do you guys feel like school's going overall with like just the process of going through, getting closer to the next grade, finals coming up, summer getting closer? How do you guys feel how school's going?
So our finals I don't know, they've been canceled, but our teachers are still giving us tests, so that took off a lot of stress. And I'm getting nervous about next school year because I'm gonna be a senior, but I'm not really sure how.
I don't know, school is school.
Yeah,
Honestly, just get through it.
I would have gave the same answer 20 years ago. Well, thank you guys for your presentation, your time.
I have a question. I noticed in your agenda, your meeting agenda, that the president is making motions. And also making seconds. It seems a little bit inappropriate to me.
Yeah.
Should be following Robert's rules of order.
Under Robert's rules of orders, if nobody makes a motion, the president can step down and hand the gavel. Go to the next one and make a motion. Or if nobody seconded, you can do the same thing, step down and do the second.
Yeah, but it looks like this is common.
We'll bring that up.
Yes.
There's
I'll let the
enough
advisor
of you on the board that should be somebody that would make, besides the president, in my notion.
Is there a conflict, a time conflict, why so many are absent at the meetings?
I don't know, it's been through the rigors too of, we used to have it during the day, and then we went away from that practice and had to start after hours, and the students are all coming for all kinds of activities, and with new leadership, hopefully we bring it back to a time when all our students can be present,
Yeah.
and it's been a concern of mine, but, with new leadership up there, hopefully we get back to allowing that time for our leaders to get into the governance that they need to be to handle situations and the agenda topics.
A lot of our members are athletes.
Yeah. Or our meetings are held during breaks and that's time for assignments to get like missing assignments done.
Just priority.
Yeah.
One other question I had, how about like the lyceums, like the plays and the lyceums that they had, how did you guys like that? Do you think that was well received in the high school?
I think so. I think it, I don't know, it was kind of something to look forward to, I guess, like every week. Yeah, it was really nice having like something like planned every week,
Yeah, something different to break up
Yeah.
those days. It's good to know.
Just to hear about and stuff. I really enjoy listening to people's presentations about different topics.
Yeah.
Like that girl that had come from, I don't know, yeah, the DIA or something like that. Yeah, that was, I liked it.
Yeah, those are very informative too. I think
Yeah,
that's good
especially
to
if they're
spit along.
interested in going into like a career like that.
That's good to know.
Do you have anything else, Ben, for student council?
Thanks, ladies.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. No. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 2, superintendent.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen of the board, I know you guys have had time to read what's happening on campus. It's been out for five weeks now. And then on the Title IX audit, the one thing that was,
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
one thing that held true again was that on the 3-prong test, we made 2 prongs, or past 2 prongs, so our school is still in compliance with that, with our substance. We've been in compliance for many years in Title IX. Other notable things are the fact that our school continues to strive to have better communication with our stakeholders. Do you have any questions on the?
We're pretty even out, right?
What's that?
Complied with Title IX, or even out with boys and girls.
We have to at least satisfy 2 to 3 prongs every year. And we've been doing that since we've been doing this report starting in 2012. The board has been pretty adamant with doing, in the playing fair terminology, it's you either hire more women coaches, you strive to have more women programs, you give women equity and equality as much as possible in funding and budgets, fields, locker rooms and all that, and our board has been in compliance above and beyond in a lot of cases, especially when it comes to Special Olympics. Most schools don't have that as a part of their school system, the athletic department, and our school board does. So, yes, flying colors for that. And every year I do this report on make sure that we are in compliance, and if we need to add something or increase something for females, we do it.
How about female refs?
We have one, yeah, we have one. I wish I could get one. You know that.
Suppose.
The crazy part about that is we have to, yeah, we are adding more to keep the refs that we have, just because the High School Activity Association is working with us to put more rules in place. I just got a survey from Matt Fetch today where the vote was the schools, member schools want to see High School Activity Association do more as far as handing out disciplinary procedures to schools that aren't in compliance with things, like diversity, and the second one is calling bad fans out for bad behavior. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in the fall and how they handle that. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Shane.
Anything else to add? Any questions for Dr. Martin this time?
I just wanted to say, tell Dick, he's not here today, but congratulations on the best in class grant. That's pretty cool.
Great.
The Tiny Turtles.
Yes. Very cool for sponsoring two new classrooms.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There was a rumor that I heard that the turf people were not happy.
Oh, yeah, I could speak to that. As of today, we met with the council this morning at 10, and they did pass a resolution to get things back on track. What was happening was there was a contractual date that wasn't in sync with what we had originally put out, and so BIA wasn't accepting that, and we had to go change that language in the resolution, get it re-adopted, signed, sent out, and then do a drawdown. The money is sitting there, the 10.2 million is sitting in Aberdeen, just the formality part of it. And then, yes, they weren't happy because they hadn't been paid. So the tribe took care of that today.
Okay, good.
Any other questions for Dr. Martin? Not move on to Assistant Superintendent Human Resource Director Levi.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, attached is my board report for the hiring that's been done since the last board meeting from April 9th through, we'll go 5/14. I've got an updated copy with some changes I'd like to highlight. Under positions hired, the first one says middle school teacher Christopher Smith. I'd spoken to every board member individually. It's going to be student services specialist for Mr. Smith would be the job that he'd be occupying. And that job, like I said, we have conversations already, but that job had been advertised for a full year. Mr. Tim Johnson is under a consultant contract as far as becoming that job. Middle school administration wants to re-advertise the middle school teacher position. The high school English language arts, Jaron Marsley's was the only qualified applicant. Preschool special needs, we have 3 positions. These were the 3 top applicants: Barbara DeLorme, Braylee Meliter, and Melissa Valley. Tiny Turtles paraprofessional, Sandra Morin was the top applicant, and school psychologist, Candice DeJarles was the only applicant. Her salary is split between the elementary and the high school.
Is that little girl that kept getting overlooked all the time?
Oh, that was
Kara?
Martin.
Didn't she have a different name?
This is Seymour's daughter. This is Seymour's daughter. Seymour and Brandon Faith.
No, he's talking about,
No,
no,
it's
it's
Sandra
actually
Moore.
paraprofessional.
Oh, yeah, no, I
You
don't
can
get it.
have it
Okay.
after. I just wanted to show that there.
Okay.
Other changes, go to Family Community Engagement Director. Was opened on 5/6/24. It closes 5/16/24. As of tonight, we have 11 applicants for that position.
Nice.
Right, Turtle Mountain Community High School CPE Director was also opened, advertised on 5/6/24. It closes 5/16/24. I have 2 applicants and I have 5 partially completed applications that I think are gonna get turned in, are hopefully gonna get turned in. A Turmont Community High School art teacher, I have 2 applicants, but they're not necessarily qualified in art, but that can be something that I look at in conjunction with Brad moving forward to see what kind of options we have there. Turmont High
Driver's
School,
ed?
what's that? Driver's ed is on here also. Right now, we have nothing right now. Oh, I skipped driver's ed, my apologies.
Yeah.
Right now, we don't have any applicants for driver's ed. I have a partial application, but nobody filed anything yet. And Brad and I have some ideas. We're definitely looking at things. We're trying to stay on top of that. I know that's gonna be difficult to fill.
Was there a conversation, I know last time we talked about like offering some kind of an incentive to one of the teachers to get certified in driver's ed, like any existing teacher that we have? Is there any conversation about that, doing that?
Mr. LaRock, you get the question? He said, any conversations with existing teachers to come over and apply for that position?
We did, and the teachers we have in place right now are not interested. We have
That
some,
are certified?
they're not certified.
They're not, they'd have to go certified.
Oh, none of
They'd
your
have to
teachers
take-
are
they'd have
interested
to
in
take
doing
the
certified.
4 classes.
How many? 4?
4 classes,
You'd have to take.
it's a lot to do in one summer.
Yeah.
I
Where do you
tried,
take the class
I
at?
tried to talk several of
Why
them
not
into it, but they're like, no. I don't know.
Why not state?
But I'll be honest, if you know somebody, that is a really nice job. And with those new simulators, you know, your whole classroom instruction from your test to your questions to your, everything is laid out for you. You know, those simulators are state of the art.
Is it a full-time position?
It's a full-time position. Excellent,
It's a
excellent.
good position,
It really is.
especially for a new teacher, so that's why we're reaching out to some people. Right now, we don't have anything.
If you know anybody, send them to us.
Absolutely.
Kylie?
Any other questions from you? So go ahead, 45 minutes. Okay, moving on, thank you.
That's it? I mean, he's done?
You want me to go through all of them? I got them in the report. You need me to-
I didn't get any updates to it. I can read them, yeah, but if there was any updates, you were updated.
Turtle Mountain High School Parent Liaison was advertised as of yesterday. You guys have that on your sheet?
Yeah,
Okay. Turtle Mountain Community High School paraprofessional position was advertised as of yesterday, closes the 23rd. Parent liaison also closes the 23rd. High school music teacher, we have no leeway there. There's still an investigation pending for that position, so we'll just leave it at that. Middle school teacher will re-advertise. And middle school music teacher, I did have 1 applicant for that. And I'm looking into that with the middle school administration. Other than that, the only other position that I see, my assistant, administrative assistant for HR, I've narrowed it down to finalists today and I've contacted the applicants, so the three individuals know that they are finalists as of right now.
And you're hoping to have somebody hired for that position by when?
I'd like to get them in by the beginning of June, and then Rose has agreed to come in and train them,
Oh, nice.
because her contract is officially up, I want to say May 23rd. But she's agreed to come in and train them in certain areas where they might need some help. That should be everything up.
okay, thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Butler, business. Okay, I have all of the
I got
financial.
one question.
Excuse me, how about the policy meetings? We haven't,
Yep,
no dates or?
I've got, we're gonna meet with the policy committee tomorrow, which was, when we went to the NDSBA meeting, they recommended having a small committee and then taking it to the board to vote on at the end. So that way it expedites, the whole board doesn't have to be here to go through that whole process. That committee gets that ready, then we have a special board meeting, and then you guys vote on that. So that committee's job will kind of be to sort through verbiage and things like that, so you don't have to do that, full board meeting.
That committee set?
That committee set and we'll meet tomorrow at 8 AM. And then from there, Connie will send out dates to see when you guys are available for a special board meeting.
So we're gonna, the policies that are already approved, we're gonna take care of that first.
Who's the policy committee?
It's Dr. Martin, myself, school board president, and Connie. When we went there, their recommendation from legal was 4 different individuals, just like you have here. They said you should probably just use what you have at this meeting. You have school board representative, superintendent, the HR director, okay, and the secretary for minutes, and that's all we do moving forward. Then you take that to your board, that way your whole board doesn't have to fight with trying to get a schedule that works for everybody to come in. Because the board's still gonna approve, disapprove, or change any verbiage they want at the end of the day. You're still gonna have that option.
You'll have the original procedure changes, correct?
Yep. Anything else?
How do you get cold water and nobody else gets hot?
Okay, in the packet, you have all of the financial reports as well as the updated student membership report. Again, all indications go to, we will be at probably the lowest student membership in the last probably 30 years. However, on the budget aspect, we've been doing everything we can to move funds to federal areas and increase the amount of an unspent balance in the general fund area that would go towards the construction purposes. So that would be that's going well. All the budgets are right, intact. We were very, very much on top of it this year. Many meetings occurring. Special education, that has been, again, as always, a challenge, but again, monthly meetings, we projected our goal was to carry over no more than $1 million in the high school area, and we are right about there. Right now, our current balance is, as of May 1st, was somewhere in the neighborhood of 1.2 million. So we feel we're going to get down to those levels. Also, we are working on the same in the preschool area, getting their area spent down. A big item that will come up next month, of course, in the preschool special needs area is payment of the playground that is specific to special needs students, which will go on to the northeast side of this building. And in addition to that, another item I don't have in my report that I just wanted to bring up, we touched base on, and I think Ray is still here. One of the major changes we're trying to incorporate into next year is the busing schedule. One of the biggest issues we had is we're really pressing the high school. Students are sitting on there long. Buses want to pull out before the high school students are loaded properly. That became an issue. And then in the elementary school, one of the issues is that some of those students start getting picked up right around a little bit past 6:30, 6:40 a.m. And then with the release time each day, I believe it was 3:05, 3:10 each day. And a home delivery at about, in some cases, 4:45, 4:50. I think I agreed with the elementary administrator. That's too long of a day. And it's just absolutely too much to expect out of the elementary students, especially the K through 3 children. So what we did is this week, or next 2 weeks, this week and next week, we're going with the trial of a separation of an elementary run first, and then a middle school, high school. And right about the last couple of days, now going into 2 days, we're pretty close to where we want it to be, but we're still about anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes short. We're pulling in late at the middle school. We should be there at least by 3:25. We're pulling in at getting all our buses there about 3:32, 3:33. We have a couple of ideas to incorporate to bring that back, but the middle school in turn is looking at possibly pushing their time all the way back to 3:10. And after looking at that again today in the minutes, that we absolutely need, if they could get back closer to 3 p.m. release time, I think we would be right where we need to be. We would run an elementary, middle school route, then come back for a high school route at 3:35. And so far, I don't think we've gotten, I think we expected it to be a little bit chaotic, but it hasn't been. And one of the areas we discussed earlier today too that absolutely needs improvement is, and it's really no one's fault at this point, we have a lack of bus drivers. This morning our count was, Ray, you might help my memory here, I think we were 9 altogether.
Yeah.
And then in addition to that, we would be looking for a total of, I think, maybe even 11 next year. Preschool special needs is looking at hiring 2 drivers to take care of their daily routes. BIE has, I think right now, 2 open positions, and they're going to add 2 more, I believe, is what Toby told us.
Yep.
And at this point, we have on our end, the 2 open positions. There would be yours, and there was a floating type position we had, we never did fill. Due to lack of drivers, we just ended up closing them. So those 2 are out there. And in addition to that, I believe Brad was talking about adding one.
Yep, and then we're possibly another
sped route, and then the 2 preschool special needs. So on the district side, it's about 6 bus driving positions, and then possibly another up to between 4 and 5 on the BIE side.
Yeah.
So our issue is, and again, in the winter months, again, like we're saying, that's just too long of a day for those elementary students. To where if we were able to get the drivers, and at this point, from what we understand, is a total of 11, is it, graduated from TMCC. So again, Ray is in the recruitment process right now, so hopefully we would alleviate that. And again, if there are any questions from parents you may receive about the routes, again, it's a good time for us to go on a trial basis to make sure that this is something we're ready for at the start of next school year.
So I will say, like, I say a lot about parent communication or whatever, but the elementary school did a good job communicating the change to parents. So I really, kudos to the bus and to the elementary school, because we got letters and then we got calls as reminders, so that, which is really important, especially for the young ones, because it's critical if they get dropped off or, there's nobody at the house.
Absolutely.
So it was really good communication.
And it wasn't a hasty decision, because I was in contact, I think, pretty much daily with Dr. Martin about this, as there was a lot of times I'd be sitting in the parking lots and driving around town, watching the routes along with Ray and Mike. And we did our best. It was, I think, pretty well thought out, but even at this point, we're still missing minutes. But either way, whether the middle school decides to go back or stay where it's at next school year, if we get the drivers, we're going to be sitting pretty good. It'll be a very efficient routing system. And also, our bus fleet is going to be, I think, right about the best it's been in years. So we should be ready for it. And one of the issues that came up as being potential is that a lot of elementary students may ride the bus with their older middle school students and high school students. What we did is the elementary students are able to go into the gym, and then they're driven up and they would be allowed to ride on the second route. However, I don't think there've been that many of them.
Yeah, then 6 or so, 7.
No, that ain't too bad. That's
So-
not much more.
We were expecting 20 plus. We thought we needed 2 14-passenger buses to transport them.
Yeah.
But that's about all I have on that item.
And then one of my questions is, like in regards to instructional hours, like our elementary and our middle school are always kind of like way ahead of what's required in instructional hours. When our high school, because of the 4-day work week, our 4-day school week is kind of like always riding like close to that number. Is there any chance of getting those, like you said, like converting those, the middle school and the elementary schedule to match, because their instructional hours, which are required by the state, are close, where we could get them home at the same time, and maybe it'd be easier for you to come back for a high school route, because there could be, how many kids are there riding a high school bus?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's.
Our issue though is that the middle school is required to have the 1,050 hours, just like the high school. The elementary is required to have 962.5 hours. And the elementary, I would say, they have roughly 1,140 hours, so they are way ahead.
Yeah.
And then the middle school, and even then with this, if they would go to another routing system, done at 305, they would still be ahead 15 days. Whereas the high school, right now, they have 5 days built in, but they also have the option of using the Braves Fridays as another time. So.
So if the elementary has all that time built up, can't we release them earlier in the school year?
That's, you mean cut the number of days?
Yes.
That's an
Because if they're going
issue.
longer, because last year they had how many days extra that they didn't get compensated for?
That was an issue with DPI and the state level. Their intent is that we stay as close as we can to 175 contact days at 5.5 hours. Our issue was, I believe, we would have 175 contact days at, I believe they're at like 6.5 hours. So they're way ahead on hours. And in checking around with a lot of the other larger schools in the state, the majority of them will start right around same time we do, 8 a.m., and they release that right about 2:30 each day. And whereas all these years, we've been trying our best to, first it was because of buses. We would try and go with the one route system. And then finally, a few years back, we split. We did the 5-bus route for the high school. But then we were going to do that again last year, but our issue became a lack of drivers. So our goal next year is to get all students home in a timely manner, and the elementary students wouldn't be subject to that long of a day.
But if we have, lesser amount of kids riding the bus with the two routes, should we be using less buses?
That's the intent right now of what Ray is studying. I believe there's a possibility you thought you may be able to use a couple of the larger buses and combine routes.
Yeah, that's a possibility. But the Bureau now, they have shorter buses, like 50-passenger buses, so it's hard to combine. You know, it says 50, but, you know, actually, once you get 35 kids in there, it's packed. Yeah. So that's their problem right now, that they can't double up routes. So they're supposed to be getting 10 new buses, but when did he say, next year this time?
Yeah. And it's no one's fault from the local level with BIE. They have 10 buses ordered. I believe they told us last August they were in the process of ordering them. They have to get them through GSA. Now they're saying they should have them here by next March. So in the process, we always keep, as our transportation committee members know, we keep spares. I believe right now they're using 3 or 4 of our spares.
Yeah.
The Bureau?
Bureaus, yeah.
So again, a lot of thought and effort into getting our kiddos, home safe, in a timely manner.
Those bus driver positions are advertised.
Not as of yet, we met this morning and reviewed the roster. Because again, at this point, it was determined that advertising, let's say last month, probably wouldn't have been to any avail. Because yes, Levi, we don't even have any subs right now, other than just a couple that are already on route. They're already being used. We have 3. But that's all I have.
So, Dwayne, if the middle school and the elementary, they have all their hours in already? But they still have to go to school,
Yep,
contact.
yep. It's
But
not
do we have to
necess-
keep them a full day?
Not necessarily, no.
So why are we?
Well, yes, we do. As long as school's in session, they need to be there 5.5 hours.
Oh, so then we're taking care of it with the.
Yep. And that was the point.
Teachers' conference.
Oh, okay.
With a half-hour route, they could be released at 2:30 actually. But within their educational programs, the furthest they could go back, I believe, was 2:40 p.m. So it was determined in the middle school. I guess, Julia, you're a middle school or an elementary teacher, right?
Are you at the middle school? Elementary. Oh, okay.
Elementary, and would you think, like, the student, was that turning into a long day?
I think so.
You know, at, what was
Last
it,
year.
3:10, I think?
Yeah.
So pushing it back to that half hour should make somewhat of a difference at this point. Hate to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I
but
feel
you-
like it has though already, I mean, in 2 days, but I can feel the difference in my students anymore.
Oh, my little God.
The administrators have to
It's such a relief.
2:40.
Just that little bit of time made a big difference. Especially towards the end of the year, when it's starting to get nice and the kids wanna be outside. But do those actually have to be instruction hours?
Yep, what they require is, the way that 962.5 is based, I dare say it's 175 times 5.5.
Okay.
5.5 hours per day. And, which brings us to, they start at 8. Realistically, by 2, they could be done. But then you start running into issues of, I imagine, when you go back that early, supervision once they get home.
Yeah, you might have working parents that don't get off until 4:30.
And then your staff too,
Yeah.
because they're there with nobody there in the school.
And whereas at this point, I believe, Ray, all of the elementary students are getting home by, except ones that choose to stay, are getting home by 3:20, would you say?
Oh, yeah. Most of them, what we have, like four buses coming in at 3:20, so most of them are there already, so probably before that, probably 3:10.
And then they're going to the middle school and going right back out.
Yep.
Middle school and high school and then
Yep,
going
and then they go right back out for a second round.
And then I think from there, the majority are all in by 4:20.
Yeah, majority, yep, we have 3 buses that get back about close to 5, and that's the Dunseith and Rolette routes.
And it seems to me like it would be easier for the drivers to supervise when you have the younger kids.
They all-
From the middle
They
school.
all like just hauling the elementary first. They said it's less chaotic, it's quicker. They get them, they sit on the bus a long time and they get antsy, and that's where problems start. So they're so far from what I'm hearing, they like it better. It's just that we have a few buses that are getting back a little
About
bit late.
7 minutes late.
Yeah, 7 minutes, and they're kind of still tweaking their routes yet.
And you don't have any subs to fill out
Um,
to run another.
that's one thing we're trying to work on. I think I have a sub right now that we're just waiting for a background check, and then we can have him run in there and run those kids home. So to help out those routes that are coming back late.
And then I also yesterday asked you about any employees that have CDLs that would, like, if we can give them incentives to drive towards the end of the day.
We have a few.
Yep, we could work on that for next year.
Yeah.
And I think when it said you give them, you compensate $10 an
Yeah.
hour more,
Yeah.
or they could take leave and get paid for
Get
some
paid
wages.
the full sub wages.
Hopefully you hire the bus drivers that graduated from the program.
Well, we got four that's supposed to come see Levi here.
Only one of them contacted me so far.
As of today, I think there's 10 open.
Um,
All the buses.
Yeah,
Then times have changed, because we were talking this morning when we opened the bids, that there was a time, well, you remember, you would have maybe 8, and Ray was
yeah,
one of
let's go
them, I
sit down,
remember.
let's go sit down at the
You got
garage.
8 drivers there at 6 AM in the morning hoping to pick up a route. Then they picked up that one, they would get the afternoon route, and
The bus driver jobs were the jobs to have back in the day.
Oh, right.
Everybody wanted.
It was.
I mean, Darren was making probably $26 an hour when he left the bus drive, and that was 15, 18 years ago.
Yeah. And then nobody wanted the trips back then, so that's where I liked it. All the
You
little
would
guys
work
just
all
wanted to
day
go on trips,
sometimes
so.
because you'd get in like do the kitchen work and the afternoon work, then the late time. Then go on a trip. 10 hours, then it's on a trip, yeah, you know, you do that.
Any other questions?
Your budget doesn't reflect this $2 million
Nope.
play bonus?
no, it does not. The one we have there, the latest was through, April 30th, and the ESSER balance we had was a $7.5 million, so that'll come off there.
7 point what?
7.5 million is what we had as of May 1st.
This one's at 6 million,
That one says it
6.6.
as of yesterday.
This is the updated?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we subtracted 2.1 million.
Yes.
I just have one question. On your EDMs, kindergarten was the biggest drop. I mean, K through 5 is 27.15 kids. What was the purpose funding for student population? 75?
It's right about 10,000 students.
10,000 students. Then middle school, higher.
No, it's straight across the board.
So that's $30,000. I mean, 43 times 30, that's
Yep. 400 and some odd thousand.
$90,000.
That's why we've said many times, if we weren't able to achieve that getting on formula last year and receiving that additional 5 million this year, the next year, it would have resulted in quite a rift. Wouldn't you think, Earl?
Yeah.
Huge, wouldn't you say?
So now, with all these new hires that we're doing, is that a reflection of the drop that we're gonna take next year?
It is, but at the same time, we're using as we go the increase of our state
How
revenue.
long are we gonna do that?
Until, as I have had those discussions with Earl, now this year, we'll have a truly balanced budget going into next year. This year, we had the cushion of knowing that there would be some transfers of expenditures in the ledger that would go out from general fund, state, into the federal ESSER. And then those, of course, the way we relayed those, I think we put the narrative together 2 years ago, and they've been allowed.
So transfer that some money, when you take it out from the ESSER, so we should have pretty healthy general fund.
Yep, and
For
then
the last 2-3 years.
and the goal is to get our general account up to $23 million or $26 million this year, of which 15 million would be set aside for the construction purpose up there, and another 3.5 million for the Tiny Turtles / immersion program building.
That would be the one in the, adjacent to the, business office?
Yes. And I think, like I said, we started this plan 2 years ago, and then again, I monitor it with Earl. We talk about this, probably weekly, if not more, especially these last 6 months, and I think we're right on with what we're projecting will occur. Should be right on by the time we get into these buildings.
Okay, is there any further questions for Donnie, move on to board members. Kelly, anything to report?
No, I don't.
Anna?
I had the honor of going to NAFOA for the conference, and it was good. The acknowledgement of the work for the ESSER funds. So kudos to TNRG as well. And I had people approach just because what they were intrigued about was the connection with how we connected the community to the work being done in the schools. So they loved that. So that was it. It was good.
Dave,
Nope.
Okay.
Just adding to Anna's, because I went to NAFOA as well, and my first time ever going there, and it was very interesting. Some of the sessions were, it was different because it talked about finance. It also wasn't specific to board members, but I mean, the topics that they covered were very interesting. Talked about the artificial intelligence, and how schools are using it, cybersecurity. I mean, the topics were just different, but it was very humbling, like Hannah said, to receive that award and to stand up there and be recognized for, the good job that everybody is doing with the learning loss funds. So kudos to everybody in the school, and like Hannah said, TNRG for helping with all of that. So, that's it.
I have one thing. I know we talked about, we went to this legendary training as board members. Now, I think our next step is to set up an agenda to that effect and see how it goes. Because we have to get some more training on it. Get Shane Dr. Martin, Dr.
Correct. Right, so, what I had asked Connie to do is, we couldn't, Anna's on a part of the DPI, be legendary, and we can't use her, so we're gonna contract with another person to come in, out and give some more training to the board. And like Al said, we, as a board and as a group, in the Turnout Community School, we have to, are we gonna go forward with that, or are we going to not do it? Because, we're almost seems like we're half in, we're half out. And it's pretty straightforward on what the request is and should be legendary. It's talking about SEL, it's talking about your major goals for the learning, and then the off topics are of course the agenda type items that we put in the school. And so those things expedite your meetings because you're focused on one thing, that's achieving the highest goal, which is achievement for all students. So we could set that up definitely, and maybe for a June meeting, and then come back for September when we do our retreat and have everything loaded so that we can.
So basically, let's set agenda set, it's,
What do you mean?
we're reading up a little bit on it, and it's, our meetings could be, once everybody gets the agenda. We get like a week ahead of time or whatever, 2 weeks. Is, you gotta make sure to read it. And if there's any questions to ask, then now's the time to ask the questions when the agenda is approved and it's up. For my understanding, when it takes place, a motion to be made, if you make a motion to approve the agenda, that's it, the second time you read is that. The meeting can be done in 10 minutes, or 15.
Yeah, they're expedited quite a bit, because the board members then contact the individual people and ask the questions before the meeting.
It's kind of like we're doing it right now, we're not doing the hybrid. The board, like the administration do it. That's probably about half of our meetings, the agenda items. It's just that they're being reported after the board.
Remind me of why we were going, I only went to the first
I only
day
went
of
to
the
the,
training, but the second, remind me of why we were going to go that route. What are the pros of it?
Well, I mean, there's pros and cons to it. The pros are as the board, you concentrate on the educational piece more so than any other piece in the school. And you concentrate on meeting the SMART goals, social emotional learning, you know, your math, your science, your English learners.
We can do that in 10 minutes.
Well, because you're affixed to what the goals are, and you read the reports ahead of time, so you know exactly what schools are making the goals. And then when you come to the meeting, your agenda topics are just the agenda topics like Alan said, like, for instance, approving the budgets that are necessary for the day-to-day operations. And so you take a lot of that out of that because you guys are, as board members, get to, you know, call us and say, hey, I got a question on this before the meeting, let me know, and then your question's answered, and then go to the meeting. And everything's done.
So actually, a couple things. One is I just yesterday resigned from the Be Legendary training. I just don't have time to do it, but I did express that it is important to have a Native person as a trainer, because a lot of the schools, that's what they want, somebody who understands that. But that Be Legendary training, the school board training is an initiative by DPI, and they're training all the schools in the state of North Dakota. So it's an initiative coming from the state. And it is really to focus more on, like Shane said, the academic part, but what Alan was talking about with the consent agenda, there would be record of, so if there was an agenda that went through and like Wanda, you had a question, you would ask the question, it actually wouldn't be in a phone call, it'd be written, because everything that, any conversation or questions asked would then be public knowledge for all community members, just as our board meetings are. So everything will be provided, all that information will be provided. So then when the meeting begins, there might have already been 4 or 5 threads of conversation to say, oh, that was the question I had that Wanda said too. So maybe I need some more clarification or whatever. So then when the board meeting happens, you just make a motion to approve the consent agenda. So not everything's gonna be on the consent agenda, but there are just some things.
So
that
for
could be.
example, today's meeting agenda, how would it be different?
It wouldn't be, actually. Today's agenda was stuff that you needed to vote on.
So who decides that? Who decides what we need to vote on?
That would come from your board president and the superintendent by policy.
the board. Well, like, I had another question, like, I don't like declare a conflict. And as a school board member, if you have a conflict with a family member in your household, or anybody with the school, some people, you should declare a conflict. But if he declares a conflict, he doesn't get to participate. That's why I asked the question, if you want to participate, but if he does, then there has to be a motion second made, then everybody has to be consent. If the motion, somebody says no, then he can't.
Correct.
But I mean, if he declares a conflict, then, I mean, if it's gonna be for a whole agenda, then he doesn't even get a vote.
It's not,
But it's just on the consent.
yeah, there's just consensual items that everybody, so what happens is if everybody agrees, like there's things that we all agree to, like approve the minutes, approve, whatever. So those could be on the consent agenda. If on the agenda, there's something that I don't agree with, or Wanda doesn't, or you don't, then that would be an item that we would bring to the meeting and discuss.
Okay, so for the pros, what's the cons?
The cons about that are, if you're a board member, you're busy, you get a chance to read the minutes or read
You're lost.
you're lost. You don't know what's really going on, and you're voting on stuff that you might not say yes to. That's the biggest one.
So if you work all day and then you have a meeting at 4:45,
You have 2 weeks to do it.
Yeah, that's why we try to get, we're adhering to our, at the end of each month, you have to have your board stuff in so that you guys have the opportunity for a 2-week timeframe to read, to get through all of that. All the agenda items and straightforward citations of what we want expressed for a recommendation.
So it would be an adjustment, not just for us, but administration has a clear deadline, like
We already do that
2 weeks
now.
before.
It's the last day of each month.
Yeah,
And they've been thinking for, if somebody said, oh, I forgot to get this, it's either a special meeting or you don't. Because if you do it for one day, you gotta do it for.
oh yeah, yeah.
We've been adhering to that now.
I think maybe we should just Zoom off the official meeting.
But the way that it goes is like, once you complete the training, then the next step is coaching. So nobody even moves on to the consent agenda without a coach. So if that's the next step, then it would
The
be.
board wants to go.
But you have to have the board that has completed the training and move on to have it happen.
But I
So we
also,
can't even use the consent agenda until we complete it.
they also said, we're also saying that, Casey Sobo had requested that his boards, the BID boards, go through the Be Legendary training. So if that happens, then there's an opportunity for you to make up those days. But I also think, like, it's been a long time since we have. So for us to participate in it again, I don't think that would be a bad thing, like, just to get a refresher, yeah.
I think when they did do that presentation, they had a video of like how a board meeting was laid out with the agenda and stuff. And it was more fluent, like there wasn't a lot of like discussion or like where you had to break things down and explain them, because it already had occurred in that thread where, like, say for instance, like I asked that question to Dwayne, what about contact hours and educational instruction hours between the elementary and the middle school? That question would have been asked prior to the meeting, so like I wouldn't have to bring that up during the meeting. It was more or less just Dwayne presents that item, and then we've already discussed it in that 2-week thread or whatever. Then it has to be, our questions have to be presented 3 or 4 days prior to the meeting or whatever. After that 3 or 4 days, then it's the finalization of those.
What I do remember from that setting up the training, like I and Dwayne didn't take the training either, but they mandated that all 7 board members, including the superintendent, go through the training together. Like, so for an example, if you had a 3-day training, all 7 board members with your administrators need to be present at that, from the start to the finish. So,
And actually, the two trainings that I observed, the business manager was a part of the training as well.
but he didn't attend.
Yeah.
We weren't on
That's,
the,
that's
which
official.
I.
So I'm just saying, maybe that evolved and changed, I don't know, but
Which I thought it would be kind of nice to get the training,
especially, you need to
even
know
like
what's going
with
on.
Levi, because he may be acting in a capacity, where.
I think you guys do a lot of this already, Derek. It's just kind of organizing it a different way to expedite your meetings. You're talking about a consent agenda. So you're going through that and approving that all in one lump sum. Think of it like if I had you go through policy and I stuck 25 policies together for you to approve at once, so I don't have to go through those individually. Okay, and then if you have a question about anything on that consent agenda, you bring it up and then it gets addressed, that individual part of it.
So then how is the public made aware of
Of what?
of the conversations because when we're in a meeting, that this is the whole reason why we record our meetings and we have them live. To make the public,
And-
our stakeholders aware of what happens in the meetings and what's being brought forward. So how
Absolutely.
is that happening with that?
Absolutely, I agree with that, but some of our stuff that we discuss in here shouldn't be on an open public forum.
Like what?
Like specific questions about employees or positions and things like that. Those things shouldn't be on an open public forum because it opens us up to possible litigation and things like that. That's the recommendation that legal gives you. That's why there's a set schedule. We have community members that come in that get to speak at board meetings. They should be placed on the agenda. They shouldn't be allowed to speak unless they're on the agenda. And that's by law, by school board association and how the school board meetings are supposed to be held. So I don't disagree with you. I think you guys do a lot of these things, and I get it. Nobody wants to say you have to do it this way or that way. So I mean, maybe going through the training and seeing if it's something that you guys want to do would be beneficial. If you guys still don't like it, that's up to you as a board to decide that.
I kind of remember in our training that the emphasis will become more on data, on student data, as opposed to
Business.
day-to-day stuff. And more data, more percentages and that kind of thing in regard to SMART goals and whatnot.
And Terry, like to your point, if in the consent agenda, if it's released 2 weeks before, there's conversation, Shane has to answer some questions, whatever, that information, that thread or those answers, that's public, that's made public. So different schools provide it and make it public in different ways. So it could be on board docs, like how they have our minutes, it could be on there, it could be however you want to release it. So different school districts have done it in different ways, and they'll give you those examples of ways that you can make it public and provide that information. So, because you're right, I mean, questions you ask are questions you feel like the community are gonna ask. So that's what happens in those conversations prior to the board meeting. But if you feel like still it's not answered, you don't feel comfortable saying, yes, I agree, the only thing on the consent agenda is something that everybody already agrees to and says, yes, I'm gonna vote yes to that, or I'm okay with that. Anything that there's a disagreement or further clarity, it becomes an agenda item. But again, I think going through the training, and then if we decide yes, great. If we decide no, but to have that refresher and for everybody to be able to participate, I think is a good idea. Yeah.
I know we're speaking to council.
Yeah.
Questions will be answered now, let's bring them up.
You guys 2 weeks before that.
I can get my microscope out. I mean, my, not microscope, but.
Can I say one more thing?
So-
I probably use one of those things that enlarge it.
Yeah.
Set something up.
Yeah.
Little big glasses.
Because.
Maybe not.
Oh, it's just-
Magnifying glass.
That's what I meant too.
I couldn't think of it either.
I wouldn't either.
Well, we voted on it to become.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't. We only voted for the training. We never voted to accept it.
Well, that, I mean, for the training. I mean, if we're not gonna do it, we should know sooner than discussing this later.
By next meeting, most of the principals should be able to tell us if the SMART goals are met or not.
We met today, our cognitive team met today, and we had like a little retreat at the casino, and our deadline date was given of May 24th to have everything uploaded.
So by next meeting.
Yeah, so.
Very good.
See, we never got that information for the data, the test scores. And that was one of our goals. That was one of the board's main goals, we want more of that. Instead of on a piece of paper, they would increase 1%, 2%, 3%. We actually have data, we're starting to graph with this.
Yes.
That's what we discussed today, right, Brad? Are you, yeah, Jordan right there.
Oh, yeah, one more thing I wanted to say. As part of my report is that I went to awards day at the high school last Thursday and was very happy to see Dr. Martin there, as well as Assistant Superintendent Levi. I think it's important that they go into the schools and it was just nice to see them there. I thought.
See who there on that, Mr.
Dr. Martin was at the high school for awards day and so was Assistant Levi. They were both there and I thought that was very good, for the students to see them, that you care that they were there. So I thought that was
Were we a little short on scholarships this year? Looked like a few of them missing when I read them in the paper. In the newspaper.
Brad,
Normally we have more than that, but we're short this year.
Okay, now moving on, reports. Mr. High School.
I did give my report, last night. You guys all have it in your board agenda items. Some of the highlights of it are our graduation is on May 26th at 3 p.m. Again, we had that awards day on May 9th. We have a community event for our seniors from 3 to 6 on May 22nd. I don't know if there's any other questions you guys can see from my board report, but I'd be happy to answer them for you.
What does the colors mean on the
The colors on, that's your, NDSA testing, that's, novice,
The red is not,
proficient, partially proficient and advanced.
so green is advanced?
Yes.
Oh,
It starts from the left, it goes novice,
gotcha.
and then it goes up to advanced, should be blue.
Good. Oh, this one doesn't have any advanced stuff.
Right. Any questions?
I did have a
Going
question.
once?
I have a question. No, I do. Just like the ninth grade, on the ninth grade NBA,
Plus, NDA plus.
yep, math, the district had, or so the state, right? That's
Yep.
all
State
districts.
is purple.
Yep, and then we're gold. We had only like a 2% increase, and then the other one had a 10% increase. That's a pretty like drastic
Yeah.
difference. Is that, trying to figure that out.
What I can say to that is both kind of, on the second one, we were almost even with the state.
Right, yeah, we kind of followed.
But on the first
increase,
one,
but-
yeah,
Yeah, that first one was pretty.
so that's something, we need to study that data and figure out what's going on there.
Okay.
It's something we're looking at is testing 9th and 10th graders. That way we get 3 years of data, because they do it in 8th grade, we want to do 9th grade and 10th grade, so we can figure out what the trends are, what's happening there. So.
I was wondering, because we had talked before about the transition from middle to high school and what they're learning, and whenever they're learning something different than high school and how it impacts your guys' data.
Right.
For this company as well.
Yeah.
So that would help comparing those.
Any other questions here, Mr. O'Rourke?
Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Brad. Thank you, Brad.
Brad.
I think the other reports, for Shannon Davis, Gaylor, and Nance Lake, they're not here. But the third report is attached. Anybody have any questions on either item 2, 3, or 4, elementary school, middle school, such about English school principal? If I'm Dr. Martin, follow up on that. Any other reports? Now we'll move on to item 5. Tribal Nations Research Update, Anita.
Very good.
Whatever, if you guys have any questions. So are we still moving along with the proposal? What? Yeah. What do you mean you're waiting for a plan?
Earl, Wayne, you want to grab that?
Me and Elaine were looking forward to make sure that we had enough money, we had a chance to meet, and met a little bit today on it, and went over the extra budget, but, we're just making sure we have enough money to go forward with the remaining ESSER, ones. Like, it's okay to give them the okay to, say we have enough money to continue with these. We said okay to the ones that we approved so far, and make sure we have enough for that. We just want to make sure that we have enough in this ESSER budget, however small.
Well, when will you know? What do you mean, okay, like, what do you mean you're trying to find out if you have enough money? Shouldn't you know already?
Well, we have to dip into, we have to see like how things are ending, like there's other areas in the assessor budget that have come to a close, like the high school's football language that's done, so we take that money from there, and then we're gonna just discuss, make sure that we have enough money to, from our transfer to we need money from that pot of money to cover it, and we have enough money to transfer into the assessor money in general fund to make our, to have enough for the building our projects, make buildings and stuff, and we'll probably take money from there too.
Should your board report be dated April or May or instead of March or not?
It should be April.
April?
Yeah, but it's not, it's to April. It's to April.
Yeah, it's dated March, that's what I know.
Sorry.
Do you know how many are left that are not on this list?
Yeah. So as of today, we have, and I sent this over to Earl, I don't know, or Kylie did. Kylie's the one who does most of this one, but I can't see it because I just got my phone. So right now we have, some proposals sitting out there that are ready to, they're ready, they're just maybe need a letter of support at this point now. Because we were making people go get their letters of support prior to getting close to approval, and yet they were still sitting there for like 2-3 weeks, and then those dates have passed, and, you know, they were outdated letters of support.
Letter of support from whom?
From the principals or Dr. Martin.
Building
because
facilitators.
The building facilitators, really, because we were sending people in to like the elementary school, and the principals were getting upset because they knew nothing about it. So they, and the principals should know what's going on in their school. So every building administrator has to sign off on it. And also for recruiting, so even if the is out here, we still make that, if they're recruiting students from the high school, we still make them get a letter from Brad. So that he knows that they're recruiting from there.
Okay, so how many are left?
So we have roughly about, 1.197. No, that are close, okay, that are close and ready to roll. And then we have, how many is it? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. 32, 33.
Let's go get it out.
Security.
An outfit.
Roughly 70, but like out of those 70, there's some that we haven't heard from for a long time, like we've sent multiple emails to people and we get like a response like 4 weeks later and they fix one little thing and then they send it to us and then that we don't hear from them again. You know, we send it back and say, well, you still haven't fixed this and this has to be fixed to move forward. So, you know, a lot of these are just like, they're not close or they're really not responsive. Those 70, they're not really close to even being getting approved.
So is there any way that you can send out an email asking them, you know, you have this amount of time to go to the next step? And if you're not ready with that proposal, we'll have to eliminate you?
Well, we were waiting for anything till they find out what the budget remaining amount is because
there's some
we
that
don't
just
want,
didn't do anything.
yeah, we don't really wanna have anybody work anymore on it because they have committed a lot of time. Some of these proposals, they were just poor to start with. And it's taken a long time to get some of these, like, getting them to where they're professional looking and something we would present to the Department of Public Education. So,
Okay, so before we paid these, you said that there were stipulations in order to get funding. So they all have to have at least, you said 20 kids in there? 20 kids that they service?
Students weren't ever a requirement, it was more of the time thing that.
Oh, because last time you told me 20
We
kids.
recommend that happen at
20 kids.
20 to 25 kids and some get like 60.
Some have 2.
And I think the lowest one we had was 7 maybe.
But they were still paid the $49,000 even though they had 6 or 7. One in here had 6 kids.
We don't manage the money entirely.
But you approved the proposals.
We don't approve the proposals either. We don't approve the proposals either.
Well, you recommend it. So what's the holdup then? What do you actually do?
We prepare them for the district to review them and say this is a good proposal and something our school wants to do.
As I hear, 74 proposals have been approved by the school district. 27 proposals are active, there's 47 proposals that have been completed and closed out. And on the other response on the bottom, it says 58 proposals are labeled as no response. So I mean, I'm assuming they haven't gotten back to them, so they moved on to different proposals.
And out of that 50s, yeah, again, a month, after if they haven't contacted us like for a month to 5-6 weeks, we move them into like, you're inactive. Like, we're not gonna keep chasing them down saying, get this done. I mean,
They have to take some initiative.
they have to have some initiative. Nobody, tells Earl, hey, you don't have your grant done, a million times when you're applying for grants. You wanna do it, then you gotta get the work done.
Well,
get
if
it done.
you're not doing it, you only got a month away to spend that game.
So
And we're gonna end up sending it back.
I don't intend on sending any money back, so you need to get your numbers situated and know what you have and make sure you know what you have so that we're not holding this up anymore.
Yeah, you don't be sending money back, it's just the fact of, what's greater,
It's the ones that aren't responding.
What need is greater.
Have somebody else you do.
Well, I don't know if
Not me
it's
doing
what
work.
need is greater, it's like, because, boy, I just don't understand these consultants, the ones that are approved, it seems like.
Well, I have a question, what's happening with the ones who have the letters of support
Yeah.
that are ready to go, but they're not on here?
That's when we were told.
Those are the only ones, the ones that are on there are the ones that are approved. The ones that are sitting, waiting for their direction, they're literally just waiting for their package to be submitted to, who approves them.
So about 74.
Because we have some that have done 2 of them already, most of these have done 2 of them, like I said the last time, and you got some that just aren't coming forward yet.
I work as fast as they work, so whenever I get them in, I work with them, and I think whoever has worked with me knows that I'm very responsive.
Yeah.
And I answer as soon as they get a hold of me, I live by my email, I live by the phone.
So do you have a template to say, okay, I submitted this proposal to you, and this is what you don't have, I'm looking for this is what you don't have, I'm looking for that?
Yes, a rubric that was created.
Whenever I
at the
send
beginning.
out an email, they'll get an initial one that says the big things that they need. So it's a rubric that Dr. Thomas had created for us. And then the stuff that included that came thereafter, such as like the contact hours and letters of support and things like that. The SMART goals inclusion, because it has to be, included into that. But they get the initial email, and I try not to make it super overwhelming because I don't want to discourage them either. But the big points, I'll make that to them and tell them what they should keep, this looks great. So they all get that initial email, then we just kind of go back and forth. Or if they call, or if they stop in, whatever works best for them.
Because let's say, okay, I had a lady say that there was somebody who got one approved. And so she said, I know this person was struggling, so I let this person use my template for my proposal. And when that proposal came back, everything was wrong on it.
Could have been one of the earlier ones on. The earlier one was
one of the
prior.
later.
Well, but does that woman know that maybe that other person,
She put in her own data. She just used the template.
but everybody
Actual
gets the same
template.
template. The template's on our website. And everybody just follows the same template. And then, like maybe that woman went back and forth a lot with the team too and responded very quickly.
Yeah, because, it seems like there's some that come in, they have a proposal, they're approved, the next day they're having their stuff done, and then there's some that are constantly sent back. You need this, you need this,
I
you
agree
need
with
this,
that.
you need this. And it shouldn't be that
I
way.
think and that's why I suggest strongly that they come in and sit with us, because it's so much easier for me to sit and work with them.
Okay, and I actually did have somebody that said that she asked if she can go in there and sit with one of you, and you said, well, no, that's not what we do, we just provide the instruction.
They're lying to you.
I guarantee you that.
I guarantee you.
Same
I
thing
a lot of
in
people.
the evenings, the same.
To sit with people.
Yeah, and we've come in on Saturdays and sat with people.
Okay.
So Dwayne just talked with me. Now that we approved this budget, and I've been working in sync with the finance and business manager to make sure that we're spending our money and spending it out and making sure that we're not going to put ourselves in the deficit either with the number of proposals we have. So, Mr. Puttra and Mr. Demery will meet with you guys and have a running estimate of what we have left based on all of the spending that we're doing with that, so that you guys can know about how many approximately you'll have left to get that by the end of the week.
And to try our best to expedite them, so I'm starting to get calls too from individuals, so.
Can you imagine how much we got? And it's
I
like
get
getting, it's
I
getting
get
a
almost
little,
every day.
it's actually getting a
Every
little
day.
hostile towards us, like they're really starting to get, which is bad, because nobody's entitled to this money. It's a grant program, it's a contract, you're a contractor, you're providing a service. It's not an entitlement.
Thank you, Elaine. Thank you.
Anything else, Terry?
Thank you, Kennard.
Yeah, not a lot, but okay.
Francis?
So you're gonna meet with them when?
Starting tomorrow, maybe each day, till we
So you
will have an
can,
idea on Friday as to what we could approve and try and expedite it the best we can.
Blake, do you have any questions?
No.
Anna? Ellen?
not any questions, but just a comment, because this is part of what we went to Nicole for, was to talk about this learning loss, funding. So, I mean, gotta make sure we spend it.
Yes. And then make sure that we adhere to the rules and regulations of how we spend it, because that's what we got the award for.
Right.
So I guess I do have a comment. I mean, I think it is important that we spend the money so that nothing is returned, but I think that there may have also been a missed opportunity as far as like evaluation, like evaluating what worked and what didn't work. Like there could have been things that went well and that it positively impacted our students, so that's something we can implement in the school, or could be implemented in the classroom, or like the speakers that come in, or you know what I mean? Like there's things that we could have pulled. Just like any other grant, you get a grant and the grant is to help you work through something and figure stuff out. But then once the grant's gone, you still want to make sure that that impact is still there. So I guess there may have just on the tail end, we could have.
And then those evaluation pieces that we all read, that really delves into what we've got out of it, what we learned, what the kids learned, how much they've learned.
Mhm.
And that's the most important piece
Yeah,
for me,
yeah.
that I read.
I agree, yeah.
Okay, no further questions. That concludes our meeting. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Motion made by Terry, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Anna.
Aye.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 6:25.
Next meeting.
Oh, right.
Under this recording,
Thank you.
consultants, can I we have a special meeting now?
This is a special meeting. There's only one item.
I got it up. Okay.
Are you ready, Connie?
Okay, I'm just getting it set up here. Just one second.
Thanks for reminding me.
Do I have to log in or am I okay?
You should just be able to,
But I shut my computer down, I forgot.
Who
You can see me though. Should I log back in?
Sitting in between them.
Wow. I'm in attendance.
okay, I can call the order. Wait for, okay, 6:26
Okay, we only have one item on the agenda, and it's, if Mr. Trotter opening bids,
do we want to on the agenda?
Second.
okay.
Harry and Wanda,
Wanda,
right?
second.
Did we approve the agenda or we don't have to do
that's
that?
what we're doing.
That's what we're doing.
Okay, the
We're way
agenda.
behind now.
Okay, Anna,
Yes.
Francis,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Abe,
Yes.
Alan,
Yeah.
Dr. Wanda,
Yes.
Alan, and
Yes. Okay, we have one item that's, bid open for 2 route buses and 1 wrecker.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, we, earlier, I guess, our construction committee, transportation committee discussed this last fall. We would wait until the spring to ensure we had funds available for the last two 14-passenger buses that needed to be replaced. We have ample budget for it. Today we went over that between Earl and I. We determined we have just about 400,000. The entire bid amount will come up to just about that amount. And in addition to that, what we went with, which are costing a little bit more, to the 14-passenger buses, they will have they're a little bit more spacious. You have the activity seats and some additional storage space for some of the trips. And by using these buses, ordering these buses, they'll be able to free up a couple of our other regular size 14-passenger buses to be used during the day that are actually used on activity trips at this point. The other we have is the international work truck. The original truck was purchased right around 2004, I believe, or 2005. It was purchased in 2005. It only has 20,000 miles on it, but it's really showing its age. Ray and I agreed, and the trade-ins this time around weren't very high, but it kind of tells you the condition of of what they have. The 14-passenger buses, we have one of them, I believe, that's allowing us trade of $1,000, and the other one is $2,500. The trade-in value on the international truck, after we did some checking, we were hoping to get right around 10,000 for it. Trade came in at 8,600. We discussed today, that was close enough. We were willing to accept that, considering its condition and the breakdowns it's been having. So with the funds that we have in place, our recommendation is to approve the purchase of the two 14-passenger buses and then one international work truck, as presented, to be paid from general fund.
Okay, motion made by Terry, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Anna, is there any discussion? Not roll call, you ready, honey?
Okay, Francis,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Dr. Wanda,
Yes.
Ellen S.,
Yeah.
Dave,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Alan.
Yes. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Move.
Motion made by Dr. Fraser, second. There's a second.
I'm like, I'll second.
Second by Terry, all in favor, say aye.
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 Meet adjourned, 6:30.
Joe Klosky from DPI.